You're listening to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon, presented by 92.9 Tom FM, an iHeart radio station.
Hello and welcome to episode 64 of Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon. I, of course, am Kyle McMahon, and we have, once again, an all-interview episode of Pop Culture Weekly because we have two incredible guests that I'm really excited for you to hear our conversations. So first up is writer-director Lee Dong. He's a really great guy, and I talked to him about his feature movie called Stealing School. Now, Stealing School is really good. I'm telling you, you need to check it out. So basically, it's, I don't even know how to, I would say it's satire-ish, and it is all about this student a week before her college graduation. She's a Chinese-Canadian student named April, and she's accused of plagiarism by this teacher's assistant and has to prove her innocence in like this secret academic tribunal. And I'm just telling you, it's really good. It's really twisty. It's funny. It's got heart. And the conversation with Lee is very important. So first up, and then I also talk with Emmy Award winner Tarzan himself, True Blood. I mean, he's just an incredible actor, Alexander Skarsgård, and I talked to him about Godzilla vs. Kong, which is out now, exclusively streaming on HBO Max, and it's at the theaters that are open, the ones that are open in the U.S. right now. So I love Godzilla vs. Kong. You know, I'm Team Kong, baby. And we had this big debate about it on social media, you may have seen, but I'm Team Kong in any event. So I talked to him. So let's start off with Lee Dong about his film, Stealing School. Okay, so I am here with director, writer, producer, talent creator Lee Dong, and we are talking about his brand new movie, Stealing School. Thank you so much for speaking with me, Lee.
Thank you for having me here.
Of course. So, first of all, congratulations on the film. It's really a great movie, and I love how it is. It's like comedy-ish, but drama-ish, but twisty-ish. Tell me in your words what exactly Stealing School is.
I always thought it was a comedy first. It's a story about a young Asian girl who gets accused of plagiarism and has to basically prove her innocence in like a school trial, like a week before graduation, which kind of sounds serious, but the jokes always came to me first. But yeah, it is a sort of comedy, drama, mystery, and it's essentially a courtroom drama that I think is funnier because it's taking place inside not of the world of the law, but inside the world of academia. So like, you know, the judges are just kind of like teachers and regular people, and they're trying to basically sort out this young woman's fate. And, you know, that can lead to a lot of misunderstandings and ineptitude and just people screwing up and not really knowing what they're doing, which is always a funny idea to me. Throughout this process where people are trying to figure out if she's innocent or not.
Yeah, and what's interesting is it doesn't, I don't want to say it all takes place in this kind of courtroom setting in this tribunal, but a lot of it is stems from this one kind of scene. And, you know, through flashbacks. I mean, I love how you did that, and it's great. Would you consider it like a satire or like a metaphor?
I guess a satire would kind of work. Yeah, it's kind of satirical about the idea of courtroom dramas, or it's making fun of the idea of people in academia and universities and colleges seem to take themselves very seriously, and I I couldn't remember the last time that a movie really took shots at them and like really just kind of made fun of how self-serious they were and how kind of useless a college degree might be in today's working world. So I felt it was time to kind of do that. And this format, which is mainly in one room, was a cheap and economic way for me to sort of explore the themes and ideas that I wanted to, including what it means to be an immigrant and what it means to sort of be surrounded by white people who see you as like some sort of threat, and also to sort of explore the idea of how important a university or college degree is in the modern world.
Yeah, and so there's a couple of interesting points from your comment there. One is that ultimately, and this is not a spoiler, but she doesn't need a degree at all. She has a job lined up for her. So it's almost like it's a very interesting point to the movie, which I loved. And then the other interesting thing about watching the film, so it's a Canadian based movie. You are from Canada, or you are Canadian. I kind of in my own bubble in the United States thought that. So I have Asian friends who have dealt with this kind of expectation, not just from, in some cases, their families, but society as a whole, that you are held to a higher standard academically and that sort of thing. And I always kind of just associated it with America, So it was interesting for me to see, wait a second, so this isn't just, something that happens in America. It is something that happens to our, North American neighbors.
Yeah, no, definitely. That sort of like racism is still alive and well here in Canada. It doesn't get as much press as the sensationalist American stuff, but yeah, it's not. Canada is not immune to that sort of thing, and it's something that I've had to deal with, throughout my life. And one thing about my movie that I think makes it stand out. So there's been a lot of great Asian American movies that have come out recently, like Crazy Rich Asians and Minari, and I liked all of them, but the one thing about those movies is they're about the Asian immigrant experience, but they're always surrounded by other Asians in those movies. Whereas in my movie, there's one Asian character and she's by herself, alone, surrounded by this hostile environment, which was kind of more what I was used to growing up. There just weren't a lot of Asians where I went to university and where I grew up. So that's the kind of sort of worldview that I was trying to bring to this movie. I have a question for you as an American. Because one of the things about the movie that I really love is that it's proudly Canadian. And one of the best Canadianisms that I thought that I put in there was how people in the movie like to make fun of America, which I'm guessing you don't see a lot in American shows so much. I don't know. Did you like that, or were you like taken aback by that? Because you really don't see it on an American TV show where they would make fun of American institutions in that way.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of, I have a lot of, friends from all over the country. So I'm kind of, not that they personally are like, Americans suck or anything, but I hear and I can see on their social media and stuff as they're interacting and other people from their countries and cultures are interacting with each other. Sometimes there's a sentiment towards Americans that, is there for a reason, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't insanely shocking to me. It's just kind of how I think oftentimes people view Americans, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Sorry, one of my best friends is in New York, and he watched the movie before anyone. And the first thing he said to me, I liked it, but like, how come everyone in the movie makes fun of America, but everyone in the movie wants to go work in America? Don't you think that's a contradiction? I said, that's not really a contradiction. That's just being Canadian.
Right.
So I think that's a really accurate view of how we operate up here.
Yeah. I mean, it's, for me, it just seemed how I see or envision a lot of other countries is just like, Americans. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and some of us, I think all of us at one point or another are like, Americans, Americans. So I wasn't shocked, and I don't think it's anti-American or anything like that. I mean, I think it's just kind of a statement on some of the goings on that happen uniquely in America and to America from Americans. So, the one of the things that I love is it's very twisty in many ways. Was that something that came over time for you, or is it something that that you kind of wanted from the beginning?
Well, it's twisty. I suppose I had always wanted to make a movie or tell a story that was centered around an Asian character that would sort of subvert expectations, right? Or subvert stereotypes, I guess. So I'm always trying to keep the audience off balance and try to make them question their own beliefs coming into the movie, right? The idea of the young Asian girl, there's two stereotypes that seem to exist, which is one, that they're super hyper innocent and submissive and quiet and are incapable of doing certain things, bad things, and the other half is like they're like this evil, sneaky temptress who can who will manipulate the situation for their own gain. And those two things seem to be on opposite ends. So I wanted the audience to sort of kind of venture between those two ideas of these stereotypes, and hopefully land somewhere in the middle, because as every real person knows about themselves, they're capable of good things and bad things, and they don't really deserve to be thought of as just one thing. So that was one of my goals. So I guess the twists and the changes in the ways that you see the characters are sort of built into that central theme of me trying to force you to question some of your preconceived notions.
I love that. That's awesome. And why was this film so important for you to create?
I just, as you grow up, you kind of like become interested in certain things, and you want to see those things portrayed in movies. So like, again, going back to the idea of, as a kid, it was always hammered into my head that like, if you just study hard in school and you do well in school, then like everything else in life will fall in place. Not only will you get a job and like get married and have a family, but like you will actually like be a good person if you do really good in school. I don't know if you were raised that way, but I was. They were like, if you just study hard, you'll like be a good person, and everything will turn out fine. Once you grow up, you realize that's not true.
Yeah.
And it's a really hard thing for me personally to learn, because I was so ingrained in this way of thinking. And so when I sort of had that revelation, it always stuck with me. And I wanted to. That's why it was important for me to portray it in my first movie, because it was something that I went through, and I was like, well, other people must have gone through the same thing, where they realized that their preconceived notions around the importance and like the overall impact of school has on their lives, and then learning about the truth of the matter that that's not true. This must have affected other people. So hopefully I was able to articulate that in a way that resonates with audiences.
I think so. And as I know we're both millennials, and I think particularly our generation was kind of sold, and not just from our parents, but from society as a whole, that you go to college. You have to go to college to do anything in life, to achieve anything, and you need to do it. That's really the only path. And then, at least for me, I went to college for 6 years, and the economy collapsed.
Yeah.
And, I came out of college with an economy that was laying off people, not hiring people, and I kind of felt like I got the short end of the stick in many ways, because I'm like, okay, now I have all this debt and literally nobody is hiring. Yeah. And then the hiring that they're doing is for, low wage jobs.
Let me ask you something. Your job, part of your job is to be immersed in pop culture. Do you get the sense that the younger generation are starting to sour on this idea of higher education and college and debt and all this stuff that we're talking about?
I do. I've seen, especially with like my younger friends, I've noticed a trend with them, college not being as important. I have more friends, more more of my younger friends than of my friends my age or older went to trade schools or whatever, rather than, or, just taught themselves programming or whatever, and just kind of jumped into it that way, without the degree. And, in some cases I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready to buy my first house, in a couple of months. And some of these guys are like, no college degree, are making $100,000 a year, already have their house, and now they're buying a second one to rent out. And I'm like, what? I thought I did, what society said was the key to success, the path to success. So I do feel like there is sentiment changing, where it's not the be all end all anymore.
Yeah, I agree. And so I just wanted to put that in the movie and see how it was received by wider audiences, and if other people felt the same way.
Yeah. I mean, this movie, Stealing School, is so smart, in so many ways. I mean, it's a commentary, but I also feel like, well, as you said, it's satirical, and it's reflective, and what I mean by that is it's reflective of academia today, in so many ways. And I just love it. It's such a great film. So again,
Thank
congratulations
you
to you. On a technical aspect, you filmed it at University of Toronto. Is that correct?
Oh, well, wait, we can't say that. We can't.
No.
It's no.
Do you want me to take that out?
DuPont. No, it's fine. It's DuPont University but yes, we filmed it at University of Toronto. They let us film there. Apparently somebody who works in the administration read the script. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, wait, somebody read this and still let me film here? That's weird. So we shot at University of Toronto. I was just joking around, like, we can't call it that for legal reasons. So it's called DuPont University. And that room is just a very strange library / room / kind of looks like a court world, sort of. And and we shot it in the summer of August 2018, and it was extremely hot. And so that's where the university vibe came from.
I love that. And did you, as you were making it, did you know that it was going to, I mean, I guess everybody's goal as a creator is to show for the final product to represent, what you went in doing. Does it feel like you accomplished that with this?
Yeah, absolutely. It's very close to what I had envisioned from the beginning, and that's a testament to the great actors that were in it, and all my entire creative team that worked with me to sort of realize this vision. I'm very happy with the product, and I'm happy that it's finally available to the biggest audience in North America, which is the Americans.
And so, what's next for you after Stealing School? Promo.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Well, I mean, you mentioned trade school earlier. I guess I could just always go back to plumbing school and just figure that out, and then maybe I'll make money that way if no one lets me make a movie again. I'm just trying to develop some new projects and whatnot surrounding similar themes of being an immigrant and whatnot. I would like to do something even lighter. Like I would love to go into like the romantic comedy genre. I think it's a genre that's that is fit for like some sense of reinvention. Like if you think of a horror movie, you can think of like Texas Chainsaw, but you can also think of like The Witch or The Lighthouse or Babadook. Like there's so many different ways.
Midsummer, people. Yeah.
Midsummer, yeah. These are just like weird movies that are also horror movies. But when you think of a romantic comedy, they all look the same. They all feel the same. They all like kind of have the same lighting, and you're just like, why can't just someone figure out a different way to make a romantic comedy? And so I would really like to see different. That genre sort of gets shaken up a little bit, and hopefully I will be a part of that.
That's awesome. And I'm obviously a huge movie buff and pop culture buff, but I am not a fan of romantic comedies just for that reason. There's a few that have kind of transcended that for me. I don't know if there's this movie with Gwyneth Paltrow and Ben Affleck called Bounce, and which was kind of a weird romantic comedy, kind of like, there's a few that have stuck out to me, but otherwise I'm just like, No. So
I
I
know.
would love to see it, reinvented to be less cookie cutter and more interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. I'm hoping to do that. Yeah, next, hopefully.
Awesome. Well, Lee Dong, thank you so much. Stealing School is available right now on VOD. And please, for your next project, come on back and we'll talk again.
Absolutely, Kyle. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you, of course. Great guy, great film. You've got to check out Stealing School. I'm telling you, you'll really love it. All right. So next, we talk to the Emmy award-winning actor extraordinaire, Alexander Skarsgård. I really, really, really love Godzilla vs. Kong. I've already said Team Kong, but you'll be surprised to hear what team Alexander is on. So let's get into that right now as I speak with him. Hey, how are you? Thank you so much for speaking with me.
Hi. Hey, Kyle. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. So this movie is so big, both figuratively and literally, and I loved it. Your character kind of reminds me of like an Indiana Jones-ish type of character where he's very smart, but, he's also kind of action-y a little bit. How would you describe him?
I would describe him as a coward. So a slightly more cowardly version of Indiana Jones. He is definitely not an alpha male. He's definitely not a tough guy. He is more cerebral. He's a professor at a university. He is a geologist. He prefers to sit behind his desk and read books or write books and study rocks, basically. So, and I did like that kind of going into the movie, the fact that when they embark on this crazy adventure in which they have to transport Kong from Skull Island down to Antarctica and then into Hollow Earth, which is insane. I did like the idea that he's quite ill-equipped to lead that expedition. He can map the way, but he's never been in battle before. He's never held a gun before. He is, again, not a very brave man. And I like the idea that kind of raises the stakes and it's more perilous, the journey, if you don't know whether this guy can handle the situation or not, as opposed to being like totally badass.
Right, it's like an Arnold Schwarzenegger type coming in. That it's probably going to get solved with him.
Yeah. Plus, I also felt like there was enough testosterone and swagger between Godzilla and Kong that I couldn't really contribute much in that regard. So it felt safer to go in a completely different direction and create a character that was, again, not very physical.
Right. And so your career, you've done everything from, character studies to, all across the spectrum, if you will, of acting. This is a ginormous, summer tentpole film. Hey, how is that like for you as an artist to be able to bounce back and forth through those things ultimately to something humongous like this?
Yeah, it was an itch. I had a felt a strong need to scratch. I hadn't done a big summer blockbuster tentpole movie since Tarzan, which was 5 years ago. And like I said, since then I've worked mostly on more intimate, character-driven pieces, and also very dark, heavy subject matters, like domestic abuse on Big Little Lies, or the conflict in the Middle East on The Little Drummer Girl. So after 5 years of that, again, some of the most incredible and fulfilling experiences of my career. But after 5 years of that, I was so ready to go and do something big and crazy and fun and silly and unpretentious and wild. And I knew Adam Wingard, the filmmaker, from years ago. We met in LA, and when I've been a big fan of both his work, but him as a guy as well. He's really lovely, and this felt like the perfect one if you're gonna go and do something cathartic in a way and just go have fun. I felt safe doing it with him because he's really, really smart, and it's about I think he finds the right balance between taking it incredibly serious on the subject matter and respecting Godzilla and Kong and the legacy of these iconic cinematic figures, but also doing it slightly tongue in cheek and with a sense of humor and having fun with it and kind of leaning into that at the same time. And so I felt like I was, in the right hands with Adam there.
And, it's interesting that you say that, because I feel like this monster verse is more human maybe than previous, generations of big kind of Titan films. At least I, especially like watching Kong, I'm Team Kong all the way. And, once I saw Skull Island, I felt this like humanness that is often lacking from big, kind of huge tentpole blockbuster movies. And this has that same kind of touch. Was that important to you to have that, kind of human element to the film?
Yeah. I think it's crucial. In a way, I think it's easier with a character like Kong than with Godzilla, because Kong is more anthropomorphic. So it's easier for the audience to connect with him because he's, again, so animated and have these almost human qualities. A big part of this movie is Gia, the little girl who can communicate. The only one he'll communicate with. This is a girl who taught him sign language, and I think that's a way in for the audience, because it's a moment where you realize that there's more to this gigantic ape than just being big and strong. You discover a softer side, and you realize that he is ultimately very lonely. He's been on Skull Island his entire life. He doesn't have any social connections. He doesn't have a family, but he longs for that. And I think it's important to feel that, because then you really root for the guy, or at least I did after reading those scenes, where I was like, man, the loneliness of that and the desire that he's feeling for those connections is something that I think, especially now after a year of this pandemic, that we can all relate to. The desire to just being around someone and to have that, like, those connections is crucial.
And so, like I said, I was Team Kong. Did you have a team prior to the role, and then did that change at all after filming?
I was Team Godzilla going into it, because growing up, I was a big fan of the old Godzilla movies from the 60s and 70s. And I highly recommend your listeners to check those out if they haven't, because they're iconic. It's basically an actor in a Godzilla bodysuit walking around a miniature set of Tokyo kicking things, and they're phenomenal and done with so much passion and love. They're great. So yeah, definitely Team Godzilla going into it. But then, like I mentioned, spending 6 months on set, my character's with Kong the whole way. And when we shot those scenes and with Kong connecting with Gia, and you feel that the desire he has for family, for connections, it really melted my heart, and I think I turned and became Team Kong after that.
And finally, and you've done work like this before regarding, kind of acting to something that's not necessarily what we see as a viewer with True Blood and that sort of thing. But do you find that difficult as an artist to, you have this huge, giant, unfathomably big Titan? Is that difficult for you? Tell me about that for you.
It can be very, very difficult. I found that it helps if you spent time in prep with Adam and looking at all the storyboards and the pre-visualizations. You have an idea of what's going on around you, because again, on the day when you're shooting, you're surrounded by a green screen and a tennis ball if you're lucky. So the more you understand, you get your bearings and you understand what's around you, the better it is. But there were still days where we were running around like crazy mad chickens on set and had no idea what we were looking at, and stuff was going on. And when we were flying around in the Heave, the spaceship, it was definitely confusing moments. But that also made it really exciting when I finally got to see the movie, because there were moments where I was reacting to something and then I see the movie and I'm like, oh, I was definitely not reacting to that. I was reacting to completely different. But somehow they made it work, and it really, it's a different experience watching it than it is shooting it.
Awesome. Alexander, thank you so much for speaking with us. I love the movie and I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Have a good day.
You too, man.
Thanks.
Bye.
Awesome guy. I've loved him since I first saw him back on True Blood. And of course it was Tarzan. I mean, he just won an Emmy he's just done so much. And that's what I love about him. And he's great in Godzilla vs. Kong, which you can go see right now, streaming on HBO Max until the end of April. And in theaters for the next couple of months, the theaters that are open, and then it'll return to HBO Max a few months after that. So that is our show for this week. As always, I thank you so much for hanging out with me. Hit me up on social. You know where I am. Go see our website for all the latest, popcultureweekly.com. I will see you next week. Love you all.
You're listening to Pop Culture Weekly with Kyle McMahon, presented by 92.9 Tom FM, an iHeart radio station.
Team Kong, baby. Team Kong, baby.